Hey everybody, welcome back to the Power of God and Anime. I am the anime trainer, and today we've got, as always, Gary, Duffy, and the main character with us to talk about theology and anime. Well, today we're going to be talking about theology and an anime adjacent thing, which some people would call it anime, but why don't you introduce the series there, Maine? What are we talking about today?
We are talking about Avatar, The Last Airbender.
You mean that live-action movie?
No,
you doing the
no, not the twist. We're not talking about the twist. We are talking about the animated series.
Okay, good. I'm glad that we did that. I love when you have when they make a live action movie and they're like, oh yeah, we really paid attention to the source material and we watched a lot. It's like, we're really big fans, and then you watch it and you're like, no, you didn't do any of that.
You read an IMDb summary of the show, and even then you fell asleep halfway through it.
So bad.
It was 2 paragraphs. M. Night Solomon.
M. Night Shyamalan.
Shyamalan. Shamalama Ding Dong. Okay. All right. So, I think the most pressing, biggest topic in Avatar: The Last Airbender is the entire reason for the show, and I would say that it is. Excuse me. Sorry. Reincarnation.
Okay.
So I mean, without the concept of reincarnation, there wouldn't be a show.
Yeah, because if it was just like, oh, there's this all-powerful being that's supposed to bring peace to everyone, it's like, okay, does this just randomly happen every 100 years? How does this work? The whole idea of reincarnation, after that person dies, it moves on to a new body, basically. That's an interesting concept that we don't see a lot in media.
Well, it's definitely not something that we see in Western
media. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which in the show, is the reincarnation limited to only the Avatar, or are there characters' reincarnations as well? Is that stated specifically anywhere? I don't really recall myself. I don't know if you guys.
In Avatar: The Last Airbender, I don't think that's in The Last Airbender. I don't think that's a question that's answered. I think for the most part that it's just the Avatar. If we were to go with that series, if you look at Correlator, there might be a case to be made that reincarnation is the standard, but also there's a case to be made that it's not because of how the Avatar was created to begin with.
Right.
Which that's a
for our viewers,
that's a
we're not
Korra
going
thing.
to be covering Legend of Korra too much, simply because half of us haven't even seen it.
Yeah, so that would be
say
spoilers for those
and
people.
us.
Okay, so I'm the only one who's seen Korra. So
Listen, it's on Netflix. So my wife and I are going through Korra, Avatar right now. Once we're done with that, we'll watch Korra. And that way we'll be fully immersed.
And for the record, Duffy has already seen Avatar. He's just going through it again.
Yeah, I've seen it several times. It's a fantastic show.
Yeah.
Which is why we're talking about it, because we don't talk about trash on the Power of God and Anime. Unless we're talking about, I don't know.
I'm not sure that have we covered a trash series?
Unless you include the filler of Naruto trash, then
I mean, yes, I would probably say the filler of Naruto is trash.
Let's see here. What number episode is this? We did an introduction episode. We did a Naruto.
I think this is number 5 or 6.
Full Metal, Serial Experiments Lane,
Death
Note. I feel like there was another one in there that we
Naruto,
did.
Dragon
I think
Ball,
the very first one, I think we actually touched more on Dragon Ball Z than anything.
So we had the intro, Naruto,
so
Death Note. This is number 5, I guess.
Yep.
No, 6.
What?
We did our introduction episode, then there was Naruto. We did Full Metal Alchemist at some point. We did Serial Experiments Lane.
Death Note.
So
yeah, this is 6.
This is
Okay,
6.
cool.
Yeah.
6. Yay.
Happy
Now
6
that we've
episode,
gotten
everybody.
that crucial information out of the way,
Let's go back to what we were talking about.
which
So,
is how many episodes have there been?
anyway. So, talking about reincarnation. obviously reincarnation is it's a topic that would come up in anime type, anime series. Like for instance, there's reincarnation in the Dragon Ball universe. But as far as reincarnation here being a little different, with they're just talking about the Avatar being reincarnated. That's an interesting concept that you would just have a one person being reincarnated.
Right. It's like there's a continual line of saviors, if you will, if you'll allow that, but it's the same one throughout all generations. But it's
like
not
when
we
talk like the Dalai Lama has like supposed to be, isn't it the Dalai Lama that's supposed to be reincarnated?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So like same sort of thing there. You have a spiritual leader who is from generation to generation has a not an heir, but like an incarnation. And so with the way that the Avatar operates, I always thought it was interesting. It's like as soon as the Avatar dies, somewhere there's a baby that's born that has, on some level and it's the baby's born right then. So that means that on some level it's already planned who the next Avatar is going to be, because there has to be a baby that's already gestated.
Well,
to that point.
Does it happen immediately?
Yeah,
yes,
it happens immediately.
It happens immediately, but do we know? So, at that point, would you consider any baby that's just about to pop out of the womb, basically? Would you consider them to have their own conscience?
Consciousness?
Yeah. Like, are they self-aware that they're alive?
Well, I mean, so that's a difficult question. Like, if we're talking about like scientifically, but if we're talking about like the lore of the world, there's no way to know, because it's like, the universe could be set up completely differently.
Okay. Yeah. I would think, yes, it might be planned out, but like that would cause a lot of loopholes.
Well, because we know that we know that it has to be. So it goes from nation to nation in order.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so
that would be planned out anyways.
Yeah. So it's in nation to nation in order. So that means on some level, the death of the previous Avatar and the birth of the new Avatar have to be coordinated in some fashion.
Right.
There has to be some sort of hand of fate that is moving alongside it.
Right.
Wouldn't it be pretty easy then, don't you think, to find out who it's going to be ahead of time?
I mean
that's
guess
why we had the war with the Fire Nation.
Well, no.
That's why the Fire Nation attacked.
Because you'll know roughly where it'll be born. Because when Aang was born, they knew it was going to be an airbender. It could have been one of two temples or something. There was the Western and the Eastern air temples.
Yeah.
That's why they destroyed them.
So they just tried to get rid of all of them.
If you know the moment that the Avatar died, and you know what country he's going to be born in next...
Do you know the difficulty of that? You would have to be able to do that because you would have to like know the Avatar well enough to know that he's about to die,
right?
Or in what situation that he's about to die in, and
or
then know every So maybe you're murdering the Avatar, and then you would have to know every possible pregnant woman in the next nation that was close to giving birth.
I mean, fair. You probably wouldn't see that. You wouldn't have like records kept that carefully in a place like the South Pole. But Earth Kingdom, Fire Nation. If that's where the Avatar is going to be born next, you probably have the records. You could probably exploit.
I don't know, man. There's millions and millions of people.
I mean, I'm thinking
born
how
the exact same second.
I mean, how well do you think?
If there's like a day or two or a
hold
week
on.
between death and reincarnation. Maybe, but sorry. Go ahead, Gary.
What were you saying, Gary?
Fine. I was going to say, how well do you think the Air Nomads OBGYN keep their records regulated? Like, can you just walk into a temple? It's like, oh, how many pregnant women do you have here? Oh, we got.
Yeah, and then and then the fact that you'd have to communicate that information across hundreds and thousands of miles. instantaneously. It's not. I think you're kind of thinking in like a world where the internet exists.
No,
like,
okay. Let me put some more context into this because I know I've seen some of Korra. All right, and I know that when they found her, it was like the White Lotus, right? They were looking around like, all right, you think your kid might be the Avatar? They're looking for them. So, in your own tribe or in your own nation, if you know when the Avatar died, what day, or even what time, you could really narrow it down potentially. I'm not talking about a Fire Nation person going to the air nomad temple being like, hey, can I see your birth record?
Yeah.
Sir?
So if I'm just using our world as an estimate, there are 385,000 babies born every day, versus our planet right now, which is about 7.5 billion people. So even if you divided the world into 4 different nations, that's still 155,000 babies that could be born in a single place. So that's a lot of.
You divide them into 4 different nations. Some of those nations are pretty small compared to the others.
Yeah,
the water tribes.
But I get what you're saying. Like if you knew that on January 12th that the Avatar died, then you could be like, well, what baby in this nation was born on that particular
12th,
day? Yeah. So I mean, I get that there's a way that you could be able to do that, but like you could still be wrong.
Now here's the other question though: if you're sure that it's when the Avatar dies, a baby that is born at the same time as the new Avatar?
To my understanding, that is how it operates.
So does that mean that for 40 weeks beforehand, while still gestating, it wasn't the Avatar?
That's basically it, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
It wasn't a reincarnation of the Avatar, and then suddenly pops out the birth canal.
But each of those avatars are in and of themselves also their own person.
Beings. Yeah,
right.
They're not actually the same person.
The thing that and you don't know this, but there's a thing that carries from person to person that makes them the Avatar.
Okay, so that doesn't sound like reincarnation to me, even if that's what they call it in the show. It sounds. I mean, because they are their own people and they are distinctly different.
But I mean, like that's how we understand. That's how we understand reincarnation now. Is that you have your past lives, and those are like
I know that we already did the Naruto episode, so I'm just going to touch on this real quickly. The whole Sasuke is the descendant of this, but they're basically the reincarnation of this. It's like, well, Sasuke and this dude aren't the same. They have different ideals. They are different people, but the spirit of that person lives on in Sasuke, kind of thing. Yeah.
So if you could imagine like your spirit being born into a different culture, body, and time, and then how that would evolve as in the growth of being a human being, that's probably something pretty similar.
Also, yeah, the person not becoming an Avatar, it's more like a how do I explain this? Serial Lane. It's more like you suddenly just got jacked into the wired and you've gained all of the collective consciousness. That's what I'm thinking anyways.
Yeah, I mean obviously that's never that answer is never touched upon in The Last Airbender. That's one of those things that is maybe a little deeper than than people thought about when they wrote the story. Mm-hmm. Because like you have the story that you intend to tell, and then you have the story that you didn't mean to tell, and that's in every story ever. Because there's the story that you told, and then there's the logical implications of the story you told.
Right
upon the world.
Yeah, what you didn't say matters as much as what you did say.
Exactly.
Yeah. Gary, was there anything about the whole reincarnation thing that stood out to you?
I really liked how, kind of like we've been talking about, is that each avatar, even though they carried on that title, but they're all like Aang was his own person, as opposed to Roku, who as opposed to Kyoshi or whatever her name is, as opposed like they were their
Kyoshi.
own.
I murdered him.
I killed him, and don't let anybody tell you that I didn't.
I thought you just let him die. It's the same thing to me. I would kill him again if I had to. Kyoshi is the GOAT. But anyway, yeah, I loved how they kept their own personality. Like, they didn't even know they were the Avatar until, someone told them. With the exception of, like, episode 1 of Korra, who's, like, bending 3 different things at the same time.
It's like, from the get-go, okay, that's the Avatar.
Yeah, that's it. There's no having to figure it out. But, with Last Airbender, if we're going to focus on that. I mean, I guess it kind of breaks what a lot of people traditionally think or have, like, their own set idea of what reincarnation is. Because I think a lot of people have the idea that reincarnation is, like, carbon copy of the life beforehand, It's like,
and I think it depends on...
of Joan of Arc,
we have to look,
I'm so much like her. Or something like that.
We also have to look at what culture of reincarnation, because there's a bunch of different cultures throughout history that talk about reincarnation. So we have to look at the ones that are most likely being addressed, and obviously that would be more of the Eastern religions, and probably in like a Buddhist like tradition than probably anything else.
I've heard, or not heard, I read a couple of things this week about it. A lot of it is based on Buddhism and Hinduism, but the one that I hadn't known was that the whole spirit world basis is based off of the religion of Shinto, which is
yes, I was actually going to talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah.
So we can go ahead and transition to that, or if there's anything else that we want to talk about, and specifically in reincarnation, like as relates to Buddhism or anything like that.
Before I'm going to head off any comment to decide to say that 3/4 of us haven't seen the show's successor show, and not one of us is really an expert in any of these Eastern religions. But we're going to try and tackle it anyway.
Yeah, this is just for fun.
Yeah, I mean, we're not trying to give like
that. This is like
this is not
where to go for your information.
Yeah, well, I heard on this one podcast about that. Don't do that, please. Don't do that.
Please don't reference us in your term papers or anything like that.
Yeah, if you
want to have that like anime,
if you want to halfway reference us in relation to like on one of our Christian episodes, then yeah, do that. But
even that we're pretty.
Yeah, that's why I said
next
halfway
on the
reference.
Joe Rogan podcast. Did you know that these 4 dudes were making an anime and religion thing, and they thought they would talk about Hinduism, even though they don't know anything about it?
And it's like, you know what? I'm going to have them on, and the first question I'm going to ask them: have you ever tried DMT?
Man, I got to tell you, smoking weed's good for you, man. It calms you down so much, man.
Our God anime is canceled. Hashtag cancel Poga.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, where were we about?
I think
so. Anything we wanted to? Well, if there's anything else we wanted to talk about specifically with as far as like Buddhism and reincarnation and Avatar.
It didn't tie into Avatar, but how do I phrase this correctly? The Indian Hinduism believes in reincarnation, where you could be reincarnated into a cow.
Yeah.
We don't see that with the Avatar. It's like you have to become a human soul, not a cow soul, not a fly
That's why
soul.
I felt like it was more of a Buddhist kind of tradition.
Yeah, it is definitely. It's more Buddhist. And then the what is it? The fact that you can communicate with your past selves. Instead of just like having the knowledge, I am all of these people, you can actually go and talk to them for
they
advice
exist on some level, like
they
previously
still exist
in the
as a
spirit
conscience.
world or something.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Well, which I think the Buddha, Siddhartha, I believe he had claimed that he had seen all of his reincarnations when he had achieved enlightenment. I believe,
which would sort of like play in line with like the Avatar state.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Like you're able to tap into that power. It's sort of like because even the process of him learning how to tap into the Avatar state was very like Buddhist enlightenment sort of, because like he had to like let go of the world, and he had to like let go of attachment, and he had to, be present. Now there were like, he could get rage boost avatar, he could like super saiyan that crap, but like to get like access to it constantly, or whenever he wanted to,
hair.
it had to be sort of it had to be that process of him letting go of the world and like opening himself up to like the whole of existence.
Yeah, even that scene where he's so close to achieving that. I mean, it's the whole universe, and there's like a universal Aang right there, telling him to let go of Katara, So, yeah, absolutely.
He's like, nah, I'm good.
That was taken like right out of Star Wars.
Oh yeah, yeah.
My friends are in danger. If you leave now, your training will be incomplete. You won't be able to stop Darth Vader. I mean, Azula.
The Fire Lord.
Darth Azula.
Darth Azula.
And I am your father. What? No.
You underestimate the power of the Fire Nation.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so I guess we can move on to like the spirit world a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I actually was thinking about that already. Is that the concepts of the spirit world felt very Shinto in the sense that like spirits are everywhere in some form or fashion. There's like kami of this. There's like a kami of this, and there's like and that becomes more prevalent in Korra, because the boundaries of the spirit world and the real world like start to fade.
Isn't that a video game that just came out?
What?
Oh, the Tokyo one?
Yeah.
Ghost of something?
Tokyo Drift?
No.
I don't think so.
Not Tokyo. Was it was Death Stranding the game I'm thinking of?
I have no idea.
Yeah, it's whatever that walking. The
Daryl from Walking
Dead. Yeah,
with
the baby, right?
You have to have a baby with you, because the spirit realm is like trying to capture your soul because you're already close to death.
But the baby protects you or something?
Yes, because the baby's brand new to life.
Interesting.
Yeah, no, it's weird. It's a weird game.
I tried to watch some gameplay of that, and I was like, I don't know.
It's literally
just baby armor.
And you're like your mom's the president of the United States.
Yep.
Spirits, you cannot get past this, my baby armor. Hear their cries.
But yeah, definitely in the episode with the when they first encounter that like black and white spirit, turns out to be panda spirit or something, whatever. The kind of like grotesque form of it, like I remember seeing that and thinking that was very like Shinto-y Japanese lore kind of like creature, esque in the way it was designed.
Sure, and the way that they move, and like the way that like for instance like Ko the Face Stealer operates, that seems like a very Japanese monster.
Yeah, that scared me. I'm not gonna lie. The Face Stealer, that was really creepy, and yeah. I'm just putting that out there. Has nothing to do with anything. But if anybody wants to chime in, let me know I'm not alone. That would be great.
Face Stealer is pretty creepy.
Would you count the owl that runs the library among them?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
as creepy.
I mean, like
absolutely.
Hey, no.
Of course, he's creepy.
Not
as creepy as the Face Stealer, though.
Yeah, no. The only owls I don't find creepy are brown owls. Those are more cute in my opinion, but every other owl is like nightmare fuel.
I don't know. I think owls are
snow owls. Like I can dig a snow owl.
Snow owls are pretty. Snow owls are pretty. I will agree. Snow owls are pretty.
But yeah, so like the that's an example of like in the Avatar world of a place that is simultaneously spirit and physical is the library. Yeah. Because it's obviously a physical place. It's present in the physical world. They didn't go through any sort of like spirit portal into going like to the spirit realm or anything like that. Mm-hmm. It's a physical place that it just happens to be like there are spirits that live there.
The fox included.
Yeah, the fox. Yeah, the fox is included.
Do you think that's where Joe Rogan gets his DMT from the cactus juice?
Oh my God, the cactus juice!
It's a friendly mushroom.
It's the quenchiest.
Sokka was straight tripping. That was great.
You know what though? I think Can you just imagine if there is ever another series of Avatar, they need to have a Joe Rogan character that comes on and asks the Avatar, "Have you ever tried cactus juice?" They absolutely need to do that.
He's always hanging out with the cabbage dude.
It's like cabbage guy. Can you go ahead and pull that up, Jamie? Can you pull that up? Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, I got it right here.
We're doing.
No, this cabbage is no good.
This cabbage is
Oh,
no
yeah,
good.
I found these cabbages.
Oh my gosh.
But no, but seriously, if anybody ever hears this, which, I don't know, if anybody ever hears this and wants to draw Joe Rogan as a guy in the Avatar universe asking somebody if they've had cactus juice,
we will pay for it.
Please.
Please do.
We're not going to do that as soon as we're done recording. You're not paying attention to it.
The fact that there's already like an AI that you can put Joe Rogan's voice to text with is amazing.
There is?
Yeah.
No,
that's have you not? There is a 5-minute long podcast he does about talking about the monkey hockey team. That's an AI generated Joe Rogan voice. And it sounded like someone put it on the website with his Joe Rogan thing, and everyone was like, is this an actual podcast? And then he got a hold of it, and he had to be like, guys, this isn't real. I'm telling you right now, this is not real. My face wasn't there. It's audio, but dang, did it sound close.
That's amazing. Anyway.
So, yeah. The
Shinto.
The thing I liked about the spirit world is like you could meet anyone there, and it didn't actually have to be for like you knew them or you had any sort of attachment to them. Random spirits, especially in that swamp world, just popped out of nowhere. For no reason at all. They're just like, hey, we wanna mess with the living right now. Let's just mess with the living.
Yeah, and I'm not sure like if it's a concept of living or dead. Although the spirits of the dead are in the spirit world, as is more apparent in Korra.
Yeah.
But I think the spirits are also just like. If an analog would be like inhabitants of this, like they're humans or animals of the spirit realm, because like Ko seems to be like his own thing. Like I don't think he was ever a person previously.
Who's Ko?
Like the face dealer.
Oh, okay.
Like and the owl is like he's just that guy. He's
mystical owl.
Yeah, I don't think he was ever like a human being, and it's like, okay, now you're the owl or whatever.
I just had an epiphany.
What's that?
Uh-oh.
Okay, so going right off of what you said, the owl was never is basically the perfect medium between spirit world and the physical world, because he exists in basically both at the same time.
Okay.
So, does that mean the Avatar also constitute as the perfect medium between the spirit world?
Okay, so
they actually say that, don't they?
So he's
between the two worlds.
the Avatar is the bridge between the two worlds. But I think here's the thing: is that a physical body can go into the spirit world, and a spirit can come into the physical world. They're different realms, but that doesn't mean that just because you're a spirit, you can't exist in the physical world. So, like, I think in the case of the owl, it's just a spirit who has taken up residence in the physical world.
Okay.
Right.
So I don't think he's like simultaneously sitting in both.
Yeah, which is probably why he stays where he's at. Probably just because like that's easier for him to reside in.
As you can see in this, in terms of the spirits that exist in there, and also the spirits that exist in a lot of Shinto stuff, they're very single-minded. Mm-hmm. They have one thing that they do, one thing that they might be in charge of, and it's like, this is it. This is my thing. Woe unto any creature that crosses into my territory or decides that they want to mess with my thing.
Hello, Sokka.
What if we just took this one thing?
Yeah, we're gonna take the one thing that we said we wouldn't take.
Well, no, and that's very important too, because there's this concept of like that contract that they made, like they're basically saying like, I promise not to do this, and it was like the spirit was like, yeah, absolutely. Why would you? Why would anybody say that and not abide by it? Because like almost like in the sense that like making a vow like that would be it would be impossible for a spirit to break it.
Right. Whereas like humans do it like willy nilly,
but
whatever.
Yeah, and then so that's why he's like, I can't stand these freaking humans.
Yeah.
Can't trust anything a human says.
That reminds me of like a post I saw where like some creature who like has to work at like lying, and they have to like hide their face, and they're so hard for that creature to lie, whereas humans are like, oh yeah, I'm a giant purple giraffe. And the creature's like, how do you do that? How can you just lie? That's not true.
That was talking about the Fae. It's like I didn't spend hundreds of years skirting around the truth to be able for you to just lie like that.
Yeah. But what was Sokka's offering in the library? Do you remember? Because they all had to give like some kind of
offering.
I
don't remember. Hold on.
I think it was like a drawing he made or something.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Pretty
and like
I'll put this on my fridge.
Yeah, the owl was like, well, it's knowledge.
Yeah, this technically counts as knowledge.
Knowledge that you're really bad at drawing.
I think you're right, though. I think he did present a drawing.
Well, I know in Legend of Korra they didn't use Sokka's voice actor because there was a falling out for that, but canon-wise, that's why they killed him off. Lore-wise, in my brain, it's because he broke that vow with the spirit that he probably didn't live very long.
Interesting. And so that's your headcanon?
That's my headcanon. Makes better sense than like, yeah, we didn't like that voice actor.
Something to make peace with yourself. I understand.
How do you make one of the best animated series the West has ever concocted, and then decide that one of the most important characters, voice actor, who did a fantastic job? Like, what causes a split like that?
Who knows? I didn't care.
Probably money.
Yeah, you know what? Exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say. Probably money.
Probably money.
We want you to come back and do a voice for this, but we want you to do it for free. No.
So in I don't remember which episode it was, but it's like one of my favorite episodes where the Avatar crew is in Ba Sing Se and they're swindling everyone, and he's like, I promise, as the Avatar, we're not gonna do this more than we have to, and then they end up doing it for like a week.
Hold on, I'm trying to remember.
Because Toph is blind, and they're doing the pea cup thing.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
How would I even know? And they're like, okay. She's like, I got it right, and runs away with the money.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's that. But I mean, he's also a human, so I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another thing I find great is that even though Aang and the whole team Avatar are supposed to like save the world, they are absolutely the furthest away from perfect that a team can be. And so that's kind of like, it's like, you know what, we screw up as people, but we can still like do cool things, do great things.
Yeah.
If you want to look.
We try our best.
I mean, obviously they're exceptional because they're each freaking geniuses. And to say that they're not geniuses is like being disingenuous because they each master a style in a very, 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 very short period of time.
Right.
And Aang masters 4.
4.
3 in a very short period of time. But so I mean, like,
well, technically he's been alive for 100 years. So do you count that as short?
No, because he has no experience during that time
He
period.
was asleep for it. No one says Captain America is actually like 100 years old.
Except when he's making
Captain
a joke.
America, yeah.
Except when Natasha's talking
When
to him.
when he gets to call people son.
And he's like, "What do you want, Grandpa?"
Listen here,
You guys catching Captain the Winter Soldier Natasha made him wear like a World War II veteran hat when they were in the mall.
Oh yeah, yeah. And he's like, "Nice."
I do King Boomy. I do love King Boomy.
King Boomy.
Yes.
Now, on the flip side of saying on Team Avatar is like very far from perfect. On the flip side of that, Zuko, even when actively being the bad guy, is very far from perfect when it comes to his drive to complete his mission.
Mm-hmm.
Like we see him like just let Aang go several occasions because he's more concerned about his uncle. He's more concerned about his men. So neither
He's an
side
actual
of the
human,
war here,
not a soldier.
neither side of the main characters on either side of the war are 100% driven to only accomplish their primary task.
Well, because they have their primary tasks are frequently, there because of other reasons. Like
by primary task, I mean for Zuko, capture the Avatar. For Team Avatar,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, Zuko's primary task of catch the Avatar is only there because of other reasons, and those other reasons are not his primary. Yeah, they're not his primary driving force.
His whole dislike of the Avatar in the first place is because it's basically a punishment for him to get his father's respect, and it's like, is this the only reason I'm doing it?
Does anybody else get like autistic feelings out of Zuko? I feel like he's on the spectrum.
No,
I've never considered that.
No, and the only reason I say that.
Yeah, elaborate, please.
Yeah. The only
so
the reasons I say that. No, absolutely. Yeah, the reason that I say that is because he has a very, very difficult time connecting with people or understanding how they feel.
So I would.
He's very awkward in situations when he tries to talk.
I would say that's almost. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Oh, he doesn't understand very much about like when his father is talking to him and like why his father's even angry at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Like he just doesn't get a lot of things that other people are doing.
I'd say that's just due to trauma.
Yeah,
But he was like that prior.
Yeah, I used to work with special needs individuals. That used to be my old job. And no, it was more of his raising because he was raised a spoiled brat for one. So even if Daddy was talking to him, why do I care? I'm the son of the Fire Lord. It's not like I'm going to get into any big trouble. And so when he got over his head on that issue, at least, obviously we know everything else that happened. But like when it came to connecting, he was in a palace, and the only friends he had were ones that his parents allowed him to have. He didn't have the freedom to go like out and connect with normal human beings who didn't treat him like the sun god, basically.
Sure. No, I mean I've seen people make the argument that he is on the spectrum. With various.
I could see the argument for that. Like the repetition of Azula always lies. That's very like not far on the spectrum, but like it's on the spectrum.
And like when go ahead.
I was gonna say to Ming's argument, that's also some very like sociopathic tendencies.
Yeah.
Like as opposed to like
so, like
psychopathic.
You got messed
like
up.
Azula is psychopathic, whereas Zuko is sociopathic. He has those issues, like you said, connecting.
But it's not that he's incapable of them. Like he's just like doesn't understand them.
Right.
He doesn't understand them because, well, like Maine said, the way he was brought up was very different from everybody else. His sister was crazy even before he was banished. I mean, there was I think it was, I don't know if it was on in a comic or something, but like Iroh sent his nephew and niece gifts one day while he was out at war, and Zuko loved his gift, and Azula got hers. It was like a doll, and she's like burned it. And she's like, ha! She's a homicidal maniac. He had a weird sister, crazy sister. His father was aggressive, and he probably didn't see that much of him.
Yeah,
His
and the
mother
only
was,
love...
his mother
yeah.
was the only loving connection he had.
Sure.
And then she disappears.
And so he's like, his connection to humanity has been cut off.
Sure.
So much so that when he actually has someone constantly there for him in the form of Uncle Iroh, he does not know how to
reciprocate
it at all.
Sure.
And when given the opportunity to really just dive in, free first, like ignore everything that he's been through, or abandon everyone that's hurt him, and do the right thing with his uncle, it's not a clear-cut decision because he just has been through so much trauma that he's confused. In fact, there's actually a whole arc for him about how he's conflicted.
Sure.
Being like, who his great-grandfather being Avatar Roku.
So,
being son
like,
of Fire Lord.
does him not picking up on, like, empathetic cues or sarcasm or body language or, like, not wanting to look at people in the eye? Because, like, he does that several times. Like, he go ahead.
Definitely.
I mean,
you have some.
I've been through this. I mean, I had the same kind of problems growing up when it came to social cues. Like, I couldn't look authority figures in the eye. I had a very difficult time.
It's not even about authority
friends
figures.
or
It's
anything
like
like
his peers. He could, he doesn't look
Well,
at them
I couldn't really look at my
when he's
peers
talking.
either. I had a very hard time making connections like that, and a lot of it came from trauma and abuse of authority figures, and not really knowing who I could trust. I mean, Zuko has a lot of excuses for being like that. I think it's all related to
mental,
how he was raised, what he went through, and
you don't look your peers in the eyes whenever you don't want to let them down. And Zuko has already felt like a failure for his entire life.
Sure. You know what? I'm going to put in the chat. You guys can check this out later.
Okay. The thing you were talking about?
Yeah, so...
Like, I'll say, that out later. I'll say, having both a nephew and a daughter who is on the spectrum, that both sides, you guys are arguing, make very good points, as opposed to those social cues and everything. Like, when Maine, you and Duffy were just talking about, like, the different things about why it's social, I'm looking there, I'm like, that's easily applied to being on the spectrum.
It's not,
especially
it might
to
be both.
It might be, and I'm not saying it's one way or another, or maybe the writer intended one way or another, but I mean, both. I mean, the tendencies he has can lend him. I mean, especially not picking up on like social cues, not picking up on sarcasm. I mean, that's very much like an Asperger's thing, which is included on the spectrum as well. So I mean, but I mean, he is able to kind of form a relationship with Mai. So, but she's also like extremely toxic at first, that whole relationship.
Did you guys? This is a little off topic. Did you guys see the panel with Azula's voice actor where she was talking about how her daughter loves the Avatar, but she won't let her watch up to the part where her parts come in because she's this crazy psychopath, and she's like, I don't want my daughter thinking about me like that.
It's probably confessed.
That's very fair.
Azula is nuts.
Nuts.
I mean, she is absolutely crazy.
I know what you're going to say. Okay, what am I going to say? That she's my sister and I should try to get along with her? No, she's crazy and she needs to go down.
Uncle Iroh, man, I'll be very upfront with you guys. When Zuko and Iroh were reunited there the last couple episodes, I cried. I shed a tear. It was
okay.
It was crazy good, crazy emotional. And Zuko's like got this whole like I'm sorry thing ready, and then Iroh just like takes him in. And it's good.
He's like,
it's
I thought you had lost your way. I was.
I know that the show is so heavily based in Buddhism and Hinduism, but that scene is like, to me, it's just straight out of the Bible.
It's Prodigal Son. Absolutely.
But to be fair, it's Western people writing an Eastern stylized series. So
that's why
there's
it's not
possibility of that kind of thing
anime.
creeping in,
Yeah, absolutely.
No, I get that. I don't think that needs clarification. It's just that moment like exemplifies the story so well of like you don't see it that often.
Yeah.
For Iroh to just forgive him, totally and completely and with no problem. It's just I was never angry at you. I was scared that you lost your way. Now you're here.
I saw a thing that was like people are anime fans arguing about who is the best character, and it was like a whole bunch of like stuff back and forth, and it was like Avatar: The Last Airbender fans arguing about who is the best character, and it says Iroh's the best character, and the other person says yes. It's just like everybody says it's Iroh. Of course, it's Iroh.
Yeah.
It's true though. He's fantastic, and there's not. And it's you can probably say it's because of his voice actor. Like the original voice actor for him was beloved by pretty much everybody.
Yeah.
That was aware of his work.
My okay. Favorite. Everyone, name off your favorite part of the Avatar in like one sentence. Gary.
Oh wow. Okay.
In one.
Well, that was your one sentence. There you
No,
go.
come back around to me. No. Okay. My favorite part of the entire series of the Avatar, is every single thing and every scene that Toph is in. I absolutely love it and eat it up.
There you go.
Like they're looking for the library. There it is. They look. Hello.
I'm blind.
So
that's
Toph
good.
is, she's probably.
She like slaps the Appa poster backwards. It's upside down, isn't it? I'll just go with socks.
It's facing the wrong way. Yeah.
All right, Duffy, go.
Hi, Zuko here.
Nice.
The one where he's talking to himself, or the one
everything-
where he actually walks out and says it?
It doesn't matter because it's the whole idea of him like, all right, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna be a hero. I'm gonna help Aang. I'm gonna help him learn firebending. I'm gonna stop my father. It's gonna be awesome. I have no idea how to be a good guy at all. Practicing like, oh, how do you show that you're not trying to trick them? The conflict there is it's so funny. But
don't
it's
want
also
to
like,
murder you, I
I've
promise.
had conversations like that. I've had conversations like that in my head personally before. Like obviously no one thought I was going to kill them.
But did you
Bring them
think
into
you might
prison or
kill
something like
them?
that. But like I don't want someone to misunderstand me. And I relate to that so well, even though I've never tried to murder anybody.
You're missing out, big dog. No, I'm joking.
I thought I was going to be the first one to out myself, but it was you.
You thought this was a Christian podcast, but no.
It's just a series of people who are almost murderers.
Oh no! Oh no! All right, Steven, go.
Iroh training scene.
All right, you and me had the same one. Don't come to work tomorrow.
You seem
Right.
ill. You should leave.
The one arm, my favorite scene, just the one arm pull up
One arm
with
pull-ups.
the
Okay.
eating the apple.
There's no way of knowing exactly how long he was in there. It
Yeah,
had to
no.
be a while. But the fact that he got that jacked on gruel and maybe bread is just ridiculous.
Yeah. Did we see?
Atkins diet.
Him without a shirt on any other time before that?
Nope. Yes, we
yes,
did.
we had.
Yes,
Okay.
he was
Yeah,
when he was wearing just the loincloth and he was like back to back with Zuko.
Okay. So what I
when
think
he was captured.
I think for the him looking like he had that much progress, it's because of the amount of calories he was getting per day was drastically changed. So his body was like eating away all that fat.
So I'm gonna say yes as far as like obviously getting as lean as he was, but he was also demonstrably more jacked. He was
swole.
like way bigger. He was
Yeah.
like swole.
But he probably hadn't since the war worked out in forever. So he probably had the newbie gains, and he had the underlying muscles from the war in the first place.
And I'm not going to fault, be like, oh well, that's not realistic gains because
yeah, right.
First of all, it's Avatar.
It's a cartoon.
And, yeah, so
for all we know, the gravity might be 6 times more than ours.
And Sokka literally became a master of a sword style in freaking a day. So, that's arguably more unbelievable.
14 and 16-year-olds stopped a century-year-long war.
Yeah.
We can let reality just kind of
suspend your disbelief.
There we go.
I will say, probably one of my favorite scenes that I've kind of overlooked before, and I've seen a lot more in like my feed, is when Zuko, he's in the, I can't remember, he's in the Earth Kingdom or where he is, but he stopped firebending, and he doesn't want anyone to know he's a firebender, and so those Earth Kingdom thugs are extorting for money and stuff, and there's this scene where he's fighting, he fights all 3 of them, and this one where he takes a sword and he's just cutting up the rocks, and then he puts his hand on this dude's face and throws it into the ground. I think if that was a year previous Zuko, he would have grabbed that dude's face, lit it on fire, and threw it in the ground. But you see the progress he's made, where he didn't just straight up murder him.
Yeah.
So
you know what that is? That's growth.
That's what it is. So
that's
it fair
the
to
lesson
say,
here today. Growth.
Zuko is Vegeta of the Avatar universe?
Yes. Because the amount of times that Vegeta has actually been a stepping stone for Goku and doesn't get his dues, I want to strangle fucking Toriyama.
I would really like an analytical video on his fights. Would be really great. Don't you guys?
How about that?
I wonder what's coming out.
By the time this video comes out, it's already out. So
yeah.
It's coming, guys.
Man, do you guys check out that analytical video of his fights? Man, it was amazing. Yeah,
that will literally already be. Yeah.
It took me 10 weeks to edit. No, it's gonna be done soon. Speaking of,
and it's just Z. This one's just Z.
It's just Z, but we broke up Goku into Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, and Dragon Ball Super. So
yeah.
It makes sense that it's just Z. We'll do Super later. But other scenes that I loved, and it's just because of the characters, they're really good, and they've got multiple dimensions to them. Uncle Iroh, anytime that he's with a member of Team Avatar. So when he and Katara are working to save Zuko and Aang, or when Uncle Iroh meets Toph, and they have no idea that they're on the other side of the war, but they're just so casually hanging out, and it's just good times. It's you get to see all the different sides to that man. And I just think, man, when I'm old,
I hope I'm
Uncle already
Iroh.
old. When I'm really old, I want to be Uncle Iroh.
Yeah.
Be the man Uncle Iroh wants you to be.
I'm getting that tattooed.
Be the man Uncle Iroh knows you can be.
Yeah.
I'm getting that tattooed somewhere on my body. That's great.
So I realized we hadn't talked about it yet, so I'm going to go ahead and bring it up. There's a couple of real life in our society right now tie-ins to the Avatar, including entertainment. A very specific type of entertainment known as wrestling.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
We don't. I don't watch wrestling.
The Boulder.
Oh yeah, my bad. I'm dumb. Yeah.
Yeah, Steven, since you came up with the idea, you go for it.
Oh no, somebody else can talk about it. It's good. Go for it. Since I was dumb, you could do it.
Fine. All right. Well, we were on was it the last podcast when we were talking about the next thing we were doing?
Yeah, it might have been after the last podcast.
Yeah. We were we were trying to find one we could not relate to Christianity, and Avatar came up, and I was like, Stephen was like, well, you could always call John the Baptist the Boulder.
No, it's a Peter.
Oh yeah, Peter.
Peter's name means rock.
Peter's the rock. Yeah.
I think someone said Yeah.
Peter, the Rock, Boulder.
The Boulder.
With
that comment.
So when Jesus says, one of you, Peter, you will deny me 3 times. The Boulder has an issue with that.
We have come here to arrest Jesus.
Peter was a show-off. Peter was a huge show-off, and he was a loudmouth, and he was always sticking his foot in his mouth because he couldn't keep quiet when he had to. He didn't know how to behave.
Chopping people's ears.
I think part of that...
So, no, the Boulder is totally Peter.
The Boulder is Peter.
I was going to say, with Peter, I think that came with Peter's age as well. I mean, he was a little bit older than the other disciples. You get that age, you don't care. You're like...
Yeah, you don't change your ways.
Don't. Like, I'll tell off a Roman guard if I want to. Yeah.
I care.
I've got the Son of God next to me, and Jesus is like, I'm not backing you up if you get into this, man. You got to learn to humble yourself.
Live by the sword, die by the sword. All that jazz.
Live by earthbending, die by earthbending.
Peter, do you want some little blind girl to show up and kick your butt? Because that's about to happen.
The Boulder doesn't believe that's gonna happen.
And then, a blind guy shows up. Oh, it's happening. It's happening. No, I'm just gonna
all those blind guys you forgot to heal.
Peter develops a fear of blind people every time they're and push back, please help, heal me. Peter looks at the disciple next to him and be like, you got this, right? I really don't want to do this.
John, you good, right?
Oh, man.
So, I mean, this kind of turned more into, general, we like Avatar sort of topic conversation.
Well, that's because we like Avatar.
We love Avatar.
Don't criticize for me for loving the one I love.
So, I might not have timelines right here, but is Avatar, where the Western animation renaissance began?
I don't know what you mean by that.
Okay, by that I mean I grew up watching Cartoon Network. And while the shows were of some sort of quality, it's not like there was character development or stories that long story arcs or anything like that. It was just Dexter's Lab, Courage the Cowardly Dog, stuff like that. But when I wasn't a kid when Avatar aired, and or maybe I was, I don't know.
2005 is when it started.
Yeah, 15
I was in
years
high school and I wasn't watching. I didn't I didn't have cable then, so I didn't get to see it. I didn't get to see it until much later. So is that where Western cartoons started really getting into character? Because after that, we've got Gravity Falls, Steven Universe, a whole bunch of other Western cartoons
I would say
really pushed the standards.
I don't know, because Justice League was before that.
Yeah,
True,
Justice
even
League.
Batman the Animated Series was doing that. I feel like the DCAU is kind of an outlier because they were doing that since the early 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. DC has always been the edgy sort of animation.
Not so much edgy. They just really knew that they wanted to tell.
Yeah, DC's animation department has always been has always brought it. They've always been good.
Absolutely.
Unlike their movies.
It wasn't the standard that you had for most studios.
But yeah, I don't know so much about a renaissance of Western animation. I'm not so sure about that.
From my opinion, sorry, man. Go ahead.
Just from a quick Google search, it's saying the 80s and 90s were more of the renaissance for that.
Yeah, in my opinion, those shows you mentioned, Gravity Falls, Steven Universe, those seem to be more diamonds in the rough, from my opinion. Because looking through all the things that are out there, it's wow, this looks like garbage. This looks like garbage. This is trash.
Fanboy and Chum Chum came out the same time that Adventures of Finn and Jake came out. Adventure Time. It was what in the world is this show?
Yeah, so
and
it's obviously Adventure Time was weird, but it was great. And so there's plenty of Western. I feel in some ways that Western animation takes more risks with weirdness than say Eastern animation.
That's
Like,
because in Japan there is no limit to weirdness. They can do whatever they want.
Tentacles.
but I'm talking about like
I'm not referring to tentacles, man.
what I mean by that is like obviously you look at certain things like Gravity Falls, or you look at Adventure Time, or you look at Steven Universe, and so at first glance you're like, I don't know if that art is very good, but then you realize no, it's not that the art is not very good; it's that it's stylized.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like you get a lot more stylized art here rather than just like this is some permutation of like a general animation style like you would do in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anywho, yeah, go on, Gary.
I was gonna say just the tag on that, like even like Fairly Odd Parents, like you can see Butch Hartman's work, like you see something that he's drawn, that's Butch Hartman, like you know who that is.
Yeah.
Timmy Turner.
Cosmo.
Yeah. Was there anything else regarding The Last Airbender that we wanted to cover?
It really does.
Don't watch the Netflix series. When it comes out, don't watch it.
What, the live action one?
The live action Netflix series that they were working on.
I mean, I'm gonna give it a shot.
The creators specifically said they were very specific things that they couldn't stand and couldn't work with them on, and it was stuff that made me go, okay, they're either exaggerating this or Netflix is trying to really mess things up.
Yeah.
Well,
like,
I'm gonna give it a shot.
Last Airbender into Game of Thrones. With
I hope
like
not.
in terms of gore and sex and stuff, that was the kind of stuff I was hearing about.
Well, hopefully not.
Give it a shot. I might watch the pilot, see how it goes, and from there I might make my decision. But as right now, I'm standing against it. Don't make live action remakes of animated stuff. It wasn't intended.
Unless you're literally going to follow the source material.
Or unless
Yeah.
the creator is directly involved. Like for instance,
Yeah.
the One Piece thing where Oda is specifically involved in the process of making the live action version.
But yeah, I do kind of it's kind of funny how this episode turned more from like we started off on theological issues and then it just became I love Toph. Uncle Iroh's the best. Sokka is so funny.
Yeah.
And I think obviously that's just because we're not as versed in the
Buddhism
and
and
Eastern.
and we're
those
not going to try and
traditions.
BS it if we don't actually know this stuff.
Yeah, I'm not going to talk out of my butt about something that I have, because I can talk about the general themes, but I can't like point to it and be like in this particular text.
Right.
Yeah.
In the Vedas.
Because and I could talk a little bit about Zen, but that's only because it relates to
meditation.
Meditation, combat, but also like because a lot of Zen has to do with abductive logic, and that was one of the things that I did for my senior seminar.
Hey, you save that kind of language for everyday morality. All right, this is goddamn anime.
Whenever we record these episodes,
demons.
My brain starts thinking. While we're talking, my brain starts thinking, what kind of thumbnail am I going to make for this?
Right.
And at one point today, during this recording, I thought I had this picture of Buddha, big old fat Buddha, going into the avatar state with the glowing eyes and everything. I don't think that's what I'm actually going to go with. But
you're probably not, though.
No one would understand what they were looking at.
We could probably just have it be like, we love Avatar: The Last Airbender. But anyway.
Aang is frozen. Oh, there he is.
Yeah,
so we can wrap things up.
Yeah, we can go ahead and wrap it up. Today's been sort of like a little bit all over the place, but that's okay. They don't have to be as super focused.
We're doing this
all the
because
time.
we like to do it.
Yeah, this is just a passing project, I think.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you guys very much for listening to this episode of The Power of God in Anime, where we talked about Avatar: The Last Airbender. And we hope that you join us next time, where I don't know what we're talking about, but where you'll hear Gary sing about where his hairbrush went.